escape. People take you home. When you're walking on the moon. Walking on the moon. Chase your happy place. It will change your groove. When you're dancing on the moon, dancing on the moon. When we dance again, all our trouble seems to fade away. This is how I feel. When you take me to some levels that I've never been. When we dance again, all our trouble seems to fade away. This is how I feel. When you take me to some places that I've never been. When we dance again, that I've never been. That I've never been. That I've never, ever, never, never been.
Walking on the moon.
One moment to escape. People take you home. When you're walking on the moon.
Walking on the moon.
Chase your happy place. It will change your groove. When you're dancing on the moon, dancing on the moon. When we dance again, all our trouble seems to fade away. This is how I feel. When you take me to some levels that I've never been. When we dance again, all our trouble seems to fade away. This is how I feel. When you take me to some places that I've never been. When we dance that I've never been. That I've never been. That I've never, ever, never been.
Ball on the blue side. It's not gonna happen. STMC Gold take the grand final.
Because with live sport cancelled and footy fields deserted, there's never been a better time to be a gamer.
Second attempt, but no boost to fall through. He's trying desperately to get another touch, but he just cannot get there. And with 5 seconds remaining, that could have been the last attempt. Colt's gonna get one more goal in. And STMC Gold take game number 1 with that goal right there. Granted,
Playing online games in a school uniform is now the next big thing.
Connie is now in a position. The C4 comes out, melts out. Lightning can't get the follow-up frag.
This is the world of esports, aka sporting comps played via online games.
it's just like any other sport.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the High School League for Rainbow Six Siege. My name is Joining me is Scott and we're getting straight into the game. One should be very, very good.
I'm going pretty good, my boss. Actually, quite excited for week 3. So far, we've seen a few good matchups, a few roles that we saw, and honestly, yeah, just quite keen for the matchups that will be coming out today. I mean, we already saw both of those teams really perform, so this should pretty much just give us at least a little bit more kind of storyline, I suppose, to really talk about here.
Yeah, definitely should. And, again, sort of starting to understand how everyone's going. We saw Makos in that first week. We saw, of course, the MFAC Beast last week. So it will be interesting to see how they match up because, we talked about it a little bit before the broadcast. The Mars and Makos were a little bit uncomfortable in that first matchup, but then when they went up to Cafe, they seemed all right there, and we will be seeing that tonight, I believe. Then on the other side of things, the Beasts, they got destroyed by the MFAC gentlemen. So I'm not really sure yet where to place them. They did win their first series 2-0, but supposedly that was a very one-sided affair because the other team just weren't really up to par. So I just don't know quite where to place them yet.
Yeah, it's certainly, I would have to say that there's still quite a few more games to really be played out until we'll decide kind of on the exact kind of rankings. So for now, we do already have a couple teams already kind of forming themselves up on the top of the leaderboard, but maybe some further down the line in the season, we will be getting some major upsets to come around.
Yeah, well, I mean, once we get after the first map of tonight, that will be really halfway through the group stage, if you will, before we think about finals in a few weeks' time. So it really is now or never. It's getting to that pointy end of the season, even though it is such a short season. You really need to think about trying to get those wins under your belt, trying to get 2-0 wins under your belt. That's especially important. And I think it's fair to say, we do have a clear number one at the moment, being FLSHS Lenvius. So they've won both of their series 2-0. And then ICB One Nation and the gentlemen both with one win under the belt, but One Nation have one draw as well. So, and again, that was from that first week. So it was really unsure where that second and third place is. But I think tonight is going to be really telling as what the sort of middle of the table is going to look like, because if MFAC Beasts are able to do it, they're going to go up to have 2-0 or 2 wins, 0 draws and 1 loss. So that will push them up in the table as well.
Yeah. Actually, to talk about tonight's matchup as well, we are going to be seeing, like you mentioned, Cafe today, as well as Coastline to be played out. Quick as well, stat kind of / numbers kind of talk as well. The fact that Marsden, their only successful map so far has been that Cafe, which was a 5-3 scoreline. So got a little bit close probably to their comfort zone there. But yeah, it's still, it was one of their better performed out of all of them, given that it's only a draw and a loss. Whereas for Beasts, at the very least, if they will take a draw here, it wouldn't be as impactful for their standing, given that they are already on 3 points.
Yeah, definitely. But, you put that one win up on the board and that pushes you right up to the top of the leaderboard, depending on how the other games go tonight. Mars and Makos, they just want to make sure that they don't stay towards the bottom of the leaderboard. Right now, the Lakers Legends are that team down there. They were the team that the Beasts were able to beat 2-0. So it will be interesting to see how they progress against some of the other teams. But it seems like Beasts really have it all to play for tonight, because if they're able to secure at least some sort of mid-table second, third position after tonight, they'll put them in a very good position going into the finals.
Yeah. I'm genuinely curious how things will roll out. Just check in if teams are ready, because Coastline is about to be good to go. Checking on Makos if they are good to go as well. And so Coastline should be coming right up. It's Marsden State High School Makos versus the Matthew Flinders Anglican College on Coastline.
Well, let's see how the ban phase goes. Anything specific you're thinking you're going to be seeing here on Coastline?
Honestly, I would have to say probably a Jackal ban could be a fairly frequent appearance here. Maybe something like a Thatcher, but honestly, we've been talking about that throughout the beginning of High School League as well, that they are about to start shaping their own kind of meta here. And, well, part of that is going to be the ban on Monty.
Yeah, we've definitely seen a lot of use of Monty over the last couple of weeks, so be interesting to see what that might be replaced with, if a Blitz is going to be banned out or kept in action. If we're going to see Crash as well on the defensive side of things, has been popular here and there, but it's going to be Jackal out as the Beasts pick up their first ban of the game. Not too interesting there. I think it's fair to say last week we saw a lot of roaming play from the Gentleman that really harmed the Beast, so it makes sense.
Yeah, a fair bit. It's definitely quite a bit of a flashback for Beast. They don't want to deal anymore with all of that pain, and well, Echo actually will be banned out, which is interesting. But he is a very powerful operator in the right hands.
Echo going, no shocks there, and I spoke about it. Clash out of action.
Yeah.
So really trying to target those shield operators here, Makers.
Yeah. The shields are certainly they can swing the favor of the match into the team that wields those shields, and that certainly does allow some more dynamic firefights to be taken. So not a huge surprise that they are off the board here, but one way or another, it's going to be Hoka defense from MFAC Beasts, and meanwhile, sorry, MFAC is actually going to be on defense. Pardon, it's Marsden that will be on the defense here, and bringing in a Rook and a Doc combo.
Yeah, it's always good to have those Echo sites available on site, as some early picks are possible, or just play some solid anchorage. But what I'd be keen to see is if, obviously Marsden are banning those shield operators because they were somewhat abused by them against One Nation in the first week. I think it's fair to say, you wonder if maybe they're going to try and pull it out as a reactionary, pull out that blitz, or if potentially on the other side of things, once the sides flip, if they do, whether Beasts are going to try and use that as, okay, you're able to get those two shield characters out, but there's this one you forgot about. So maybe if they're going to take that and sort of roll with it if we do get to the second side of things. But here we go. Yeah. Kicking things off already. I mean, any initial predictions how you think this is going to go?
Honestly, I think the whole matchup could be going into a draw between these two teams. I think that MFAC could be taking this map, but only time will show here.
10 seconds to go.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to wait and see what happens in this first map. I think it will be a very good picture of what's going to happen, because if Marsden are able to put up a solid defense here on this first half, then that could be a very good positive for them. But MFAC Beasts at the moment going to be looking for an early start to things. And that being said, first kill off the board. I'm wondering if that was a reactionary if we go to a rehost, because one of the players has been kicked out.
Yeah, has dropped out. Yeah, we're still waiting for the admin choice on that, as rehost did get approved. And yeah, so we are going to be going to a quick check, of the quick return back to the lobby, and yeah, so for the time being, it's a little bit unfortunate that we have the rehost that early into the matchup, but might as well get all of the technical issues out of the way fairly early. And apart from that, really, I'm thinking that Coastline will be Beast's kind of comfort ground, but maybe I might be wrong, and maybe Makos are going to be claiming the first map for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, well, we don't really know how this is going to play out. Of course, yeah, this is going to be the Beast pick, so you'd like to think that they feel some sort of comfort level on that. Hopefully, after what we saw last week, they have been able to potentially train and practice a little bit with the Gentleman and try and just work on their skills a little bit, work on their teamwork a little bit. We'll have to wait and see in that regards. But yeah, I was definitely going to say that first kill looked like it was not after the 2-second mark. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't know if that's a little bit, little bit tempting to go for that spawn kill. But yeah, so we definitely will see the rehost come through. But while we talk about that, while we get that all sorted out, why don't we have a look at the rosters a little bit more closely as we go into this one? Because yeah, it definitely is going to be a very unclear matchup. Kick it off with Mako's, and this is a team that I think they've got a lot more potential than what they might have shown against One Nation in the first week that we saw them. But any sort of initial thoughts on them?
Look, they were able to show us some good few gameplays when we saw them play against Gentlemen. They Marsden Mako's roster they had a few good ideas about how to execute. It's just some of their gunfight skill was really occasionally lacking. So maybe here they are already fully prepared. Maybe a little bit more chemistry now, more prep would have been put into the game, into their setup. So could definitely see ourselves here that they will be the ones to really perform.
Yeah, so Zarix, Kenjaz, Kasuke, Yer, and Mr. Ilox are going to be your 5 starting players here for the Marsden Makos. Switch over and have a look at their opponents in a little bit more depth, of course. They underperformed against their co-school team, their home rivals, if you will. But, we don't really know what to expect, having not been able to watch that first week matchup. So potentially they've got something on Coastline that we're not too sure about. Meanwhile, definitely on the other side of things, on Cafe, it should be an interesting sort of matchup in that regards, and to see what they might be able to do there.
Yeah, Cafe is certainly going to be a beast of its own. One of the only comfort grounds for Makos, at least statistically, where they could potentially take it out, but also could be one of those maps where if Beasts did do their VOD review and even just slight prep as to what to just in general expect from these two teams, maybe MFAC Beasts will be able to run away with that map. So there's two different scenarios, kind of could go either way, really.
Yeah, it's one of those things, it is really just a guessing game at this point in time, but it's fair to say that, as we come to the end of this week, it should be pretty clear where everyone's sort of standing. In terms of the other games that we have going on, it's going to be first and second going up against each other. That is ICB One Nation going up against FLSHS Lenvius, and then we have the Lakers Legends going up against the MFAC Gentlemen. So those two series, I think, will be very telling as to how we see the end of the night, what the ladder does look like. Because, if One Nation is able to take it out over Lenvius, that would put them up into first place, because it would be 2 wins, 1 draw for them, and 2 wins, 1 loss for Lenvius. So that could be definitely a deciding factor towards the end of the night. And then in the other side of things, Gentlemen, if they're able to push up to 1 win, 1 loss, that would keep them in that top 3, and the Lakers would be a little bit disheartened down with 0 wins, 0 draws, and 3 losses if that does go 2-0 to the way of Gentlemen.
Yeah. Well, a whole lot of storylines will be certainly shaping there, and genuinely quite curious to see what will be the kind of the end result. Because with, for example, the LPL Pro Season 2 just recently finished as well, and they had some very interesting storylines for them, where one of the teams that was Skyfire, who were kind of middle of the pack kind of team, ended up getting to the first seed place and managed to make it to grand finals, but ultimately ended up falling to another team. So a few upsets could be working, but yeah, there's still a few unresolved storylines, you could say.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying for the last 2 weeks that we'll have to get a few weeks in to really know where people stand, and at the halfway mark, that's probably the best indication. So, yeah, the end of tonight will be very, very telling in that regards. Maybe if we can bring up those standings so far so you guys can sort of see what we are looking at, what we have been looking at and talking about. Here we have it. 6 points to Lenvius right now. 2 wins, 0 losses. Very, very solid for them. ICB, One Nation, 1 win, 1 draw at the moment. So, yeah, a very huge first-second playoff tonight. And by the end of the night, we'll be able to figure out what's really going on. And next week, we'll probably cement everyone in their positions. But, I feel like it would be remiss of me to say that the top 3 kind of feels almost cemented.
Yeah, at least for the time being, it's definitely top 3 is quite certainly feeling like there's a little bit of a skill gap maybe there for themselves. But I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden, say, Beasts would pick up the pace, or maybe even Makos, and would try to go for a valiant effort to claw that 3rd place away from Gentlemen as well, because you never know. Sometimes a team takes quite a while to get used to each one another. Sometimes it's the chemistry that initially is not really working out, and the moment it kind of starts clicking in, this is where you start getting all the juicy plays, all the highlights to pop through.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the biggest grey area for me with Makos is, that out of these 2 teams, Makos and Beasts, I'd have to say that from what we've actually witnessed, what we've watched, Makos look that little bit stronger. They were able to take it to One Nation, whereas Beasts really didn't stand a chance against Gentlemen. So, yeah, I'm really, really keen to see what Makos can do on this first map, because if they're able to pull off something massive and then head it to Cafe with a lot of confidence, that could really set them up to overtake Beasts, but also potentially work on getting into that top 3 if Gentlemen don't do as well as we're sort of expecting.
Yeah, it's all going to be basing itself off a whole lot of ifs and a whole lot of whats. But yeah, for the time being, to get back to the matchup, Marsden Makos versus MFAC Beasts, they're going to be contesting essentially for what could be the 4th place, because essentially if Beasts will end up losing both of the maps today, then Marsden will be able to take over their position. If it is a draw, Beasts keep their position and Makos stay in the 5th position. So right now for Makos, if they do want to get themselves advancing onto further up on the leaderboard, they need to push today as hard as possible.
Well, just waiting on one more player before we get into this one, so we should be able to get this rehost up and running. Thankfully, as you said, better to get this done early on, get the technical difficulties out of the way. So, the old saying is better late than never when it comes to esports. Definitely better earlier than later. So, before anything gets too confusing, before we have to worry about bans and which teams are won on which bomb sites and whatnot. So, makes life a lot easier for the lobby host, that's for sure. But nevertheless, yeah, huge potential for this series here to really rock the leaderboard a little bit, and I think that's going to be the biggest storyline for tonight that we're probably going to hark on quite a bit. We'll try to keep updated with the other matches that are going on behind the scenes. If they are going on at similar times, we might be able to give a couple of score updates here and there, depending on what the situation is in that regards. But definitely keen to see this one get underway and finally make some decisions and get some more informed opinions on where these 2 teams stand.
Yeah, this is probably going to be one of the rather closely matched up games that we will be seeing tonight. Whereas before, say, between Marsden and ICB, it was a close one, but it was a bit of a kind of reverse sweep almost style, because last time we saw a 5-2 scoreline, I believe, and a 5-3 then from Marsden Makos on Cafe. So not particularly the best showcase, as it feels almost as if maybe ICB were not really prepared for map number 2. Whereas here, both of these teams they have a little bit of a shaky start. They have kind of established their own meta, I suppose, in their own environment. So this is definitely going to be a much closer game, and I reckon we are going to be seeing pretty much full set of rounds to be gone into.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that because, obviously last week we saw two very dominant one-sided affairs that didn't even go into the second half. So to be able to potentially witness a little bit more back and forth, a little bit more trading rounds potentially, I'm very, very keen for that. And yeah, I think definitely is on the Makos here to be able to perform on map 1 and get some momentum going into map 2. As you said, 5-3, both maps in that series between themselves and ICB One Nation. So I mean, they've got to be feeling good on Cafe, but still don't really know yet where they stand.
Yeah. Coastline, at least from the operator picks that we did see, it was a very kind of frag-heavy lineup from Marsden's defense, and maybe we are going to be seeing a whole lot of those kind of attempts at the spawn peaks, maybe a fair few runouts as well, some extra aggression, whereas I think Beast would try to stick to a bit more of a passive kind of, a bit more withdrawn kind of play style there. So maybe Beast would be able, especially after their game against Gentlemen, they would be able to kind of know and figure out what is kind of the general pace and how do they play off the mistakes of their opponents.
Yeah, and I think, going back to that series from last week with the Beast, one of their biggest flaws was dealing with roamers. And so I feel like if Makos have done a little bit of research, now is the time to figure out which players you want doing those sorts of roams and try and take advantage of the Beast's inability to really shut that down. So, try and limit their ability to get too many rounds here on the attacking side, even though it is their map pick, and make it a very difficult game for the Beast because, we don't really know what to expect here from them. So if you're able to, look at the VODs and try and make up some of those strategies that could definitely harm the Beast here, Makos could have this one in the bag, definitely.
Yeah, I'm definitely keen to see that happen, and we are still waiting just for one more player to join in to get the lobby underway back onto the Sunshine Ibiza, that is the coastline. And I mean, look, so far, just HSL in general for Rainbow Six, it has been a very much of a roller coaster of just matchups of emotions, of some of the clutches that we saw. So the further it will go, the more I reckon we will be seeing all of those highlights, some of the younger talent shaping up, maybe even Challenger League / Pro League potential there to be seen from some of these players. So who knows? Maybe this for some people this will be their kind of the big entry into the big esports scene.
Yeah, well, I mean, definitely when you're playing up against these sorts of teams, obviously it's a very sort of niche community of high school players. But, once you get out into the big world, hopefully these guys are thinking, all right, let's sign up for some, LPL or whatever is running and try and, get some games in up against some slightly better opposition on the other side of this, or whether they stick with this team or play in a separate team sort of thing to really explore those avenues and those options. It's a good foundation stepping stone to really push for some kind of career into it if that is what they want. So it's, that's what the high school league's all about, trying to get young kids into esports and understanding it and enjoying it for what it really can be as players especially. But, there's obviously always other opportunities around. So, just getting your foot in the door, and that can set up, a potential career.
Yeah. I mean, we already heard so many of the stories as well of some of the younger potential players from all over different disciplines, different games, where they managed to make it out. They out of the kind of the usual lifestyle, I suppose, start becoming those kind of almost the rock stars of the competitive computer games and esports, and it's certainly a very uplifting kind of story whenever you get to see one.
Yeah, especially at the moment when, the whole world's in lockdown for the most part.
Yeah.
What better to do than to sit at home and play some video games with your friends. So, yeah, it's definitely the best chance to sort of sign up for it. And, once you get out of high school, pretty much every university these days has an esports club that you're able to jump into and, sign up, make a team with people from your university and compete in leagues in that regards as well. So all these sorts of grassroots opportunities that are starting up now are things that, I definitely wish I had in my high school days. I've been lucky enough to be involved in esports at my university at RMIT here in Melbourne. So it's a lot of fun being able to see the industry grow with this younger generation, with this newer generation, starting to be able to actually be a part of it in these clubs at their, schools and stuff like that. That's something that was completely unheard of a mere, 3-4 years ago. So this is the perfect step to take if you do want to make something out of it, because prior to this, everyone else in esports that's, 24, 25 now, they were the ones who walked so you guys could run. So it's, you got to make sure that you take the most of these opportunities and try and actually make something of it if that is something that you're interested in.
Yeah. Plenty of opportunities nowadays. Yeah, even in New Zealand schools, slowly but surely, it is starting to evolve. If we are waiting, there are multiple different clubs here as well, kind of slowly evolving throughout schools, throughout universities. Namely, so far, at least in my personal experience, more so universities kind of starting to lean in towards that esports and kind of developing maybe some of the broadcasting skill sets as well. So there are plenty of ways to get involved in esports apart from being kind of the player or maybe even the caster like we are as well. So there's always a great variety of ways to be involved, but yeah, it's all in due time. Do make sure though to keep still studying and not dropping out just for esports. Yes. It's always good to, at least nowadays as well, always good to have some sort of plan B.
Oh, definitely. I mean, esports is a cutthroat industry, just like any other in the sort of entertainment industry. You can dream of being a pro AFL player, but, chances are you're not going to necessarily make it because it's such a competitive industry and you have to be at the top of your games. So, yeah, it's definitely one of those things where you want to make sure you've got some kind of plan B, and if everything falls into place, you're going to make it anyway. So, whether it be after university or during it, you get an amazing opportunity to join a pro team because of what you've been doing outside of uni. That definitely is something to have, something good to have in your back pocket. I can remember only a few years back when we saw YouTube become something that people could do as a career, but before then, everyone had to have that backup. You can't rely on it because it is such a numbers game, and if you're not right at the top of your game, there's always that chance you could fall off quite easily. So yeah, definitely important to keep studying. Don't just focus on esports, but have it in the back of your mind as a potential career option, because it's one of the best industries, I think, in the world, one of the fastest growing industries in the world nowadays. And, again, with opportunities like high school leagues and university leagues, it just starts bringing it into generations younger and younger. And, you see today, there's so many reports of it on the news of parents who are hiring coaches for their kids to be playing games. And, it might sound a little bit crazy, but you think about what kids back when I was younger, their parents would have them doing extra AFL training or cricket or whatever it was, because they thought, all right, I want my kid to have a good shot at being able to be a professional in this. So it's really nothing different to that, and it's just starting to explode. Yeah,
it's an ever-growing industry. I mean, so many already fantastic stories, but for now, ladies and gentlemen, we promise we are still going to go very soon with the matchup. For now, we are just going to go on a quick break, but we are going to be back in just a few short moments.
Where we see that collapse start from the gentleman. They're going to be coming on through. Oh, Marmaduke not quick enough on the trigger to find Stumps, who's able to get a second one. That's huge. That's what they needed out of their roamers. They've got it this round. The man advantage for, I think, the first time in the entire map so far.
Yeah, it is. It was quite a glorified 2v2, but right now Cornelius needs to keep an eye out. He did let the bandit through, did let the Vigil through as well, but no, it's a 1v1 situation. But this is a Monty versus Vigil, and right now, oh, things could go sideways really quickly. 7 seconds to go, 4 seconds to go, no time to defuse in any shape or form, and this is just about it. A GG for this map, as it will be a flawless win here by Gentleman. Oh man, the C4. Oh, the C4 could have been huge. There it is. Thus able to claim it, Doga. And now the whole Beast lineup is definitely going to be all in shambles. Zofia, it might be suspecting about a peek, but oh, fantastic headshot. And it is just all a clean up. Absolute butchery here by Gentleman. And well, that's another 5-0.
Yeah, GG's all round. Alrighty, welcome back, guys. We apologize for the delay, but we have had to, well, not us, rather, one of the teams, the Beasts, have had to pick up a sub, I believe. So it's going to be their chance to bring in someone new and start things off with a fresh player. But I don't know, that might harm them a little bit here, Cthulhu.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of a, a little bit of their weight could have maybe curbed their momentum generally, but we will be going into the map in a sec. Just confirming with the production if we... Yeah, so yeah, we are going to go back onto the coastline, ladies and gentlemen, and we... Again...
Well, a little fly-through of coastline. If you are unfamiliar with the map and its territories, we have some of the popular sites being that of Hookah and downstairs in the kitchen. They rounds to go down to, but it'll be interesting to see which way this one goes. But here we go, finally getting into it, Cthulhu. We've talked ourselves out of any filler that we might have had for later on in the night, but that's okay as we get things underway once again. Of course, the bands are all going to be the same. Nothing changes there. Here we go. And really, it's got to be Mako's game to lose here.
Yeah, Mako's are certainly looking at potentially running away with a quick dub for themselves. They want that 2-0, otherwise they are going to be sticking to that 5th spot, at least for the time being. Hookah Lounge and Billiards is once again the first site to be picked, as hopefully we won't be getting any more technical difficulties here, but nothing can be promised. Unfortunately, any kind of mass multiplayer game has its own technical issues occasionally, so here we'll just have to pray and keep our fingers crossed.
Located by attackers.
Well, kicking us off here, we're going to have Billiards and Hookah as the opening bomb side. No surprises there.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see where the Beasts decide to really spawn from and where they decide to attack from, because we often see, some teams will either go hyper aggressive like you sort of suggested earlier and go for a very direct approach, or some like to just very slowly clear out any possible angles and corners and try and shut them down one by one. But, it goes back to what I was saying before about roaming being so essential here for Marsden, as MFAC Beasts struggled to deal with that last week. Will they take advantage of that with their Jaeger or Bandit, or is it going to be more of a static site defense game plan?
Yeah, we'll have to see. So far, there was an attempt at the kind of the balcony spawn peek by Kenjaz, but to no avail. There is some roaming by Xerix, but nothing on the ground floor, so that has been completely given away to MFAC. So that's already a solid start for them, because having the ground floor to them and knowing that nobody will be trying to go for any kind of vertical play is already a huge advantage.
Well, they open up proceedings nicely here. MFAC base find that opening kill onto the Frost with Kasuke, and that being their trap operator, that's a very important kill to make this early on.
Yeah, Yer right now is the first man that that is going to have to endure all of the onslaught of the beasts. But for now, it's just going to be a breach from Squazna that will not be contested in any shape or form, as oddly enough, there were no bandit charges on that wall. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a surprising sort of choice, because of course they can find some very nutty angles there from up top. And they're going to be able to open hookah right up there. Oh, that just did not go well there for Benny. Yeah, was in the position where he pre-fired before. Okay, yeah. Goes for the double kill through the wall. Very good pre-firing there to get the man advantage back in favor of Marsden.
Yeah, now Marsden have a solid setup here. They have the good control, still full control, matter of fact, over the sites and all the area around it. And right now, really, beasts are going to be put at quite a disadvantage, given that they have to go for another re-entry into the building. Another gunfight to be ensued here between Kenjaz and Doga, and Doga has just a bigger magazine there on his G8, manages to win out the contestant in Aquarium, and right now, well, that's a solid beginning. That's already a 2v3 situation, as all of a sudden the momentum is being swung around into their favor, but a down on Thatcher is definitely not a great beginning.
Seconds to go.
No, not what they want there, and it doesn't really seem to matter. It's all on Xerix, 1 versus 2, can't get it done. Tries to go for some pre-fires through the wall, but Doga's going to be able to find the final kill there, so a very swinging round. Opened up, things look really good here for the Beasts. They're able to find that opening kill, then they get traded with 2 kills in return for Mako's. And then by the end of the things, the Beasts bring it all the way back. So that might just be an indication of how close this one is going to be.
Yeah, and an ace as well from Idoga is a grand showcase that he is all charged up. He's ready, even though there was quite a bit of a break before we actually went into the matchup. He's ready to frag out. That G8 was a phenomenal weapon to play around. I'm surprised that not a whole lot of utility was really needed there for the man, and well, he was able to really just take control of the situation completely, as we are going to be seeing a bit of a retry from Hookah Lounge, as Mako's will be attempting to maybe not let the ace slip through again.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really crucial to eliminate the chance of that early kill coming in from the base, and on top of that, they have decided to go with the Vigil, so maybe putting a little bit more attention to that roam game could be huge for them. And
yeah, I'm not particularly...
Yeah, no, you
ahead, sorry.
Love online casting.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm not particularly yet sold on the idea of Frost there, but maybe there's a bigger picture. But this man, the audacity of the man to really come out with the slug shotgun, the boss G, the meme cannon, you could say. He does see the feed, tries to connect, won't be actually hitting it, Doga, but only reveals his position and his intentions.
Yeah, it's a questionable choice, I think it's fair to say, to use the shotgun on Vigil, but maybe it will work out. Yet to see. As, you know, this time around they haven't gone with the bandit, so those walls that we saw breach so easily in the first round cannot be... I mean, they haven't even been fully reinforced. They've only been half reinforced there.
Bomb located.
Yeah, that is true, actually.
They just need a soft breach. That is mind-boggling that they've forgotten to fully reinforce that.
Yeah, almost feels like a little bit of an oversight. Maybe there's a grand picture there somewhere in... Oh, that could have been
I was just
one.
praying the shot.
Thankfully for Zarex, he will be staying alive, though, at least for the time being. But there's quite a little bit of a chaos being so far ensued from down below. There's Chiz, there's Benny, slowly trying to just chip away at all the utility that has been placed around. There goes another ADS. So far, MFAC is doing a really good job at just slowly and methodically just getting rid of any kind of utility if there was any.
Well, starting things off the other way around. This time it's going to be Marsden finding the opening kill, and that's going to be Adoga, the ace player from last round, going down early on. Will get traded out, though, and all of a sudden, Beasts again have brought back the man advantage, but 2 more kills traded in for Marsden. That's going to be Zarex, so hold on to this man advantage while you can. Some pre-firing going down towards blue stairs, but Chiz and Benny with it all to play for now.
Yeah, Chiz is being really calm and just holding his angle. He knows that there is the frost there, but just, the shots cannot be connected there. Maybe Benny will have a much better luck at trying to get rid of, at the very least, maybe the shield, but Keske is just way too good with that headshot. Suppressed and C1 as well. That is one way to rub in the salt into the wound, and maybe Chiz this time will be able to get rid of the frost, but with 35 seconds left to go, there's not a whole lot of things to do apart from maybe try to, sprint just onto the flank, but even that will be pretty much already showcased and told to the opposing team.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Marsden just have to secure these sites, stay on lockdown, and there we go. Round 2 is going to go Mako's way. But yeah, I think, just the size of Ash's charge there, her grenade launcher, limited the view, and they weren't able to spot the player, Zarex, I believe it was, who was peeking over the shield there. So, nicely done by Marsden, and that one seemed a little bit more clear-cut by the end of things, but in the middle of that round, really going so back and forth, it was really hard to tell. Both teams able to find a couple of good kills at the start of that, but nevertheless, here we go. Next round going to come on through. Doc is out of action. Jaeger's going to be staying on board. Capcan's going to be pulled out by Kasuke. Vigil is going to be, once again, in action, and Mira for that's going to be a bit of a switch-up that might throw a spanner in the works here.
Yeah, we saw back at last week's Women's League, I believe it was, where Mira on Coastline has been picked for this very site, but the issue with that choice is that all of this floor right above the site is breachable.
Yeah.
So that Mira could get ridden pretty easily, and that could really introduce that unneeded advantage unneeded for the defense and much needed advantage for the attack whenever they're gonna go in for the push. Because even with the fact that Mira usually gets banned, she gets banned for a reason that she makes all the other sites workable. She makes the penthouse and theater a fortress, an unpenetrable fortress to play against, but we haven't seen that come through in any shape or form.
Yeah, possibly a bit of a questionable pick onto this kitchen site, especially that, we've seen Benny now pulled out the buck. They're obviously very well aware of the verticality, especially going into this one, and they've predicted the bomb site perfectly with their operator picks, and Benny opened things up just like that. Kenjaz out of action, Vigil done and dusted, and no more roaming. Went for an early run out there, but doesn't work out.
Yeah, it didn't really seem to have worked just the way that they would have wanted it to happen. A twitch drone from Axel could potentially throw in a spanner in the works utility-wise. At the very least, that's one of the ADSs gone and out. Could try to maybe deal with one of the mirror windows, but that will be quite a long way about it. At the very least, maybe another ADS could be dealt with, but no, he's going straight for the prize. He's going for the money shot.
Well, it's not going to work out. Mr. Arlock's a little bit too tuned in onto that.
Woke.
Yep, but players are going to drop down into the penthouse bathroom. They've got their opening, and now they can just work on absolutely clearing out that top floor and play with that verticality.
Yeah, the moment MFAC will be able to confirm that the top floor is all theirs for the taking, this is where they're going to start wreaking havoc. I'm not particularly sure what could a Thermite really do here, but at the very least, the breach maybe onto one of the supply walls could be happening, since there's no real peaking power to be done here, albeit Yer. Ooh, Yer could be onto something. He's got a very nice setup of the soft walls there to play around with that mirror window, and Flashbang to be flying in. That is going to be introducing quite a fair bit of chaos as well to Yer. Yeah,
really getting lit up here by all the shots coming on through, but the drop comes on out. Yer can't do anything with the shotgun there, and he was going to get traded out by Benny. Oh, not traded out, just taken down by Benny. Ilox will be able to trade one kill at least and try and use that second mirror wall to their advantage. Great shot there is going to come from Kasuke, who finds a double kill. The Doga out of action. Benny now 1 versus 2. Mr. Ilox is very low, but with that mirror window, it's going to make it very, very difficult here.
Yeah, things are definitely going to be now ramping up a little bit. Benny, unable to run through that wall, will be going down, and Mazden doing some fantastic retake of the site and a good turnaround.
Yeah, great round to do it in as well here for Marsden. Putting a little bit of pressure on the Mako's player.
Unfortunately, we had a little bit of a dropout with the internet crash, which you hate to see that. But Squaznut is back. We might be seeing him. Yes, he will be able to make the reappearance. We are back to it. Hooray. And it's Hibana as well, which should make things a whole lot easier when in the hard breach department.
Yeah, well, we're heading up to the penthouse and theatre room now. So, that verticality not going to play as big of a role. But again, most of those floors are breachable. So even if you're able to make something work from below, definitely a possibility. One thing, though, I think is fair to say that I would have liked to see out of Marsden here is, maybe getting a pulse out, playing down in the kitchen below, and going for a potential last-second, C4 win from below. Always love to see that, but no, they've stuck to their guns for the most part. Doc is back, though, and they've pulled out a second roaming character. Yeah, potentially going to switch up their playstyle.
Yeah, I'm not particularly a fan of this lineup because I mentioned this before in the previous round's prep phase. The operator that does make this very side, the penthouse and theater, the impenetrable fortress, is the mirror, which she's nowhere to be seen here. There's not a whole lot of utility to really play around, because where Mazda are only bringing in the gunfight, MFAC are also bringing in the utility disposal and the general kind of soft breach, which should be able to mulch up the whole site very quickly and very swiftly. So maybe they will be able to just win it out by the gunfights, but given some of the rather shakier previous rounds, I wouldn't be relying too heavily on that personally.
Yeah, I mean, in both instances, we've seen some shaky gunfights from a couple of players. Really, Marsden has been relying on Kasuke and Ilox as those anchors. Meanwhile, Kenjaz yet to find a kill as Vigil, which, obviously Roma's role is not entirely just to find kills. It's also just to apply pressure in specific points of the map to really confuse the opposition. Yuri is going to find the first, but then again, Kenjaz goes down. So that Rome is out of action. Benny finding yet another kill, having a great game so far. Chiz is going to follow it up with a kill onto Zarix. And then we finally get a trade from Yer, but should be traded out here. Shots shaky from Chiz.
No. Oh no.
The concussion comes through.
Meanwhile, Yer is just on an absolute rampage here, being able to utilize this 90-degree hallway angles and plentiful amount of cover has definitely net him a grand prize there throughout the whole round so far, all leaving down to Chiz and Squaznut, and I don't think, that's not breachable there, mate.
Was that probably made out of marble or something there, mate? Not going to happen.
Imagine if some of the materials in Siege would have been able to bounce back the bullets at you. So you're trying to shoot the ceiling or the wall, and it's just just end up killing yourself.
Ricochet is never something I want to deal with in a game. Well, looks like Squaznut is very aware of where Yur's going to be playing from and does go for a bit of pre-fire, but again, not able to make much work.
Yeah, already plenty of time has been drained as well. I mean, 22 seconds in a 2v3 situation with Yur being that much of an absolute unit. I don't like these odds here for Beasts. They need to go in for the push, and that push needs to happen on the double. Chiz is the one to spearhead the push. He won't be expecting the MP5, and so is Squaznut and Ilox will be the one to get the double kill.
Yeah, really not the best possible situation there when you're trying to breach on through and you just get caught in that little mounting animation. Doesn't make things easy. So here we see Marston 3-1 up now, looking very strong in this first half. It's an interesting position that we see the Beasts be in, but you know, you have to rely on the fact that this is their map pick and they've got to be feeling some kind of comfortable going into the second half. But that being said, we have the Lord himself, Tachanka, making an appearance potentially. No, don't pick Tachanka. You can't be teasing me like that, Kasuke.
I mean, a Tachanka pick could be a good meme as well. We saw throughout multiple instances of competitive Siege where Tachanka pick was considered a meme, and then the moment the rush comes out, the moment the attackers get out of their comfort zone or the spawn, this is where they meet the mighty LMG that is mounted and loaded. But it won't be happening in this round, and instead it's a switch, I believe, back to the Dockyators. So just about as standard of a lineup as we can get here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised to see Kasuke jump back onto the dock, obviously providing 4 kills so far, so doing a very solid job in that regards. And Genjaz is going to be switching out for a Jaeger, and I am a fan of that from the perspective that I feel like there's possibly more potential to do damage with a Jaeger than a Vigil if you don't really know how to play Vigil to the best of your ability. But we have to see if Genjaz is able to make this spawn kill work. Doesn't look like it. Fortunately, the spawn is just not going to be in the line of sight there. So that's going to be boarded back up. Door closed. And we'll see how the attack goes from here. In fact, Beast, they want to get at least the second round to feel a little bit more comfortable going into the second half and have a better chance to bring this one back.
Yeah, solid attempt at entry through the Sunrise is already a good beginning. For the attack. Just try to get rid of all of this utility as much as possible. Get rid of those very annoying concussion mines as well. So right now this is all looking like a good beginning. Again, good attempt, good theory, but so is now the fragging, as Benny actually does manage to find, after a little bit of a confusion, the kill into Cascade.
Well, after that initial kill, slowed things down just a little bit. Still applying that vertical pressure. And now the Twitch drone can really go ham. No one's really there to shut it down, so just destroying and toying with those bandit traps is so essential. But they might also want to put some of their attention towards some of the ADSs, but they've made that entry onto the side here. Chiz has found a good kill onto Yer and now can hide behind this bangable wall here, but does get the down onto Ilox there. So basically a 1 versus 3 here for Genjaz, who hasn't found a kill yet.
Yeah, this is going to be quite a tough one for the man, but at the very least, all that he knows is that the 3 members of Beast are currently watching just only one angle, so he could potentially get Ilox back up and running. Seems that the Rook player should be able to run past, but no, will be finished off pretty quickly by Axel Bolt, and it's Benny to close out the round. So at the very least, 2 points will be claimed here by Beasts.
Yeah, they tried their best to be able to get the Dock back into a recoverable position, or the Rook rather, but it doesn't go down in the end. Ilox can't do nothing, nor can Zarek. So 3-2 now, and this is a very a much more comfortable position for the Beasts going into the second half. But, you know, if they're able to level things out at 3 apiece, that would be probably the best case scenario here, as we're going back down to the kitchen. They're pulling out the mirror once again.
Yeah, last time mirror windows, albeit were quite questionable in the positioning, did allow the remaining 2 players of Marsden Makers to really clutch it out and push the 2v4 or 2v5 into a 2v1. So certainly curious to see whether this will be the case here as well, but I believe this is the final round before we go into the side switch.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the big things that we saw in that first time we were down here in the kitchen was with the mirror windows, is the ideas were there, and there were some decent angles with some softballs that could have been used by Yo, but just didn't really, or wasn't able to take full advantage of them. And, you know, with the shotgun out, wasn't able to do a lot of damage at even the medium sort of range once those players were dropping through the hatches. So it's going to really come down to whether Yo's able to make this one just that little bit easier for themselves.
Yeah. Looking at the overall spawn setup, it seems that no runouts will be done anymore by Kenjaz. We are though seeing an appearance of a Ying on the attacking side.
I mean, it's an interesting choice, but it's a choice nonetheless. Kasuke in the background getting taken down to just about 1 or 2 HP very early on there. That could be very influential towards the end of the round. But yeah, Ying's an interesting shout. Of course, there is a Jaeger, so those ADSs could wreak havoc on the Ying flashbangs, but nevertheless, it definitely can make a huge impact going for that final push. So Axel Bolt's going to want to stay alive quite far into this one. She's finding that first kill onto Ilox, and that's going to be the Doc as well. So any chances Kasuke had it getting a little bit more health, that is now cut down and out.
Yeah, I was about to say surely the Doc will be able to heal up the Capcan as well, but it seems that that's very much unlikely, as the Candela charges are also starting to go out. There is a full entrance onto the side, and well, the plant is going to be going down soon very quickly as well. There's the peak. Xerix is just absolutely powerful on that 416 peak. Could potentially find himself another one, but Kenjaz does finally start getting some frags on board. Same goes for Xerix as well, and the whole attack is actually just all falling apart all of a sudden, and this is the last thing that we probably would have expected here.
Yeah, the runout's going to find the kill onto a Doga, which leaves just Squaznut alive above the bomb site. Of course, this is the Buck, so it's going to have to come down to some solid verticality usage here, but it might work out. Oh no! Whiffs the shots there, can't get it done. Needs to get the player on the diffuser, can't do that either. And Mars and Makos are going to take the advantage in what looked like the shakiest round of the half. They're going to go up into the next half 4-2.
I swear, this whole game is just going to be a massive just roller coaster of emotions. We see first round to go into the hands of Beasts, just able to really get the awesome, amazing entry, getting those very impactful frags, and all of a sudden, Makos just make a turnaround and just get the frags. It's almost like, you know, the moment the diffuser spawns it, they just activate the switch of just being hyper aggressive, which they should be from the get-go of the round.
Well, these are some very different setups to what we saw in the first half coming out from both squads. Ying, though, the only constant from last round, as we see Thatcher, Dukabi, Maverick, and Thermite come out for the Mars and Makos. An interesting attacking setup. What do you make of it?
Yeah, this is definitely a bit more kind of proactive setup. The Dukabi with the Ying combination could be an absolute pain to really deal with, and as well as that, a nice kind of icing on the cake with Kenjaz is the fact that he can bring in the frag grenades as well as the hard breaching as well. So plenty of just good variation of utility on the side of Mars and Makos. They're able to really kind of emphasize pretty much any needs that could be coming into play. And by the looks of it, they will get to utilize that hard breach as well to at least partial potential there with at least opening maybe a few of the walls if they can get to them.
Yeah, well,
Attackers are moving to defuse a bomb.
this time around we see that wall towards the outside or towards the center courtyard is going to be bandit trapped out. So that's definitely something that Marsden sort of oversaw in the first half. Now talking about the Beast in terms of their defensive setup, we've got, of course, Bandit going to be utilizing those Bandit traps. Benny is going to be on the Jaeger, and I feel like Benny's going to get a little bit aggressive with it because probably he was the standout in that first half. So we'll see if they can't make something of this second half using a more aggressive character on the defense.
Yeah, well, already it's the German duo that will be trying to contest the main lobby stairs and the theater, where Xerix could be also finding a few gunfights with them. But for the time being, doesn't look like it. A few potshots will be made at a ping as well, but Idoga didn't take any real damage and will be fairly promptly falling back from his position and back into the roaming game. As, right now maybe a shot onto Keske could be happening sometime very soon.
Yeah, shots just coming from all over the place here for Kasuke. Has to reposition and puts a lot of pressure onto them. I like this aggressive roaming play that MFAC Beast did have to begin with, but they're going to come back towards side a little bit. Benny going to be setting up now. And it still seems like a very slow push from Marsden, but they are making inroads slowly but surely.
Yeah, a few advancements have been made already, which are fairly noteworthy. But right now, the main gunfight is the one between Xerix and Idoga, and Idoga has been the one to come out victorious there, albeit only with a down, and gets himself downed as well in the process, whilst Chiz is trying to get an angle with a Maestro and his weaponry. So for the time being, things are certainly looking a little bit shaky there. Kenjaz does manage to find a shot onto Chiz out of all the people, and that is already going to be putting it a pseudo 4v3.
Yeah, but Kasuke is going to be traded out, so no Dakaibi for the rest of the round. So that link-up play that you were suggesting between Dakaibi and Ying not going to be able to happen this time around. Xerix is so low from being down, but was being able to be picked up, so that's a huge play call there. And then Squaznut's going to be able to level the playing field here. 3 versus 3, essentially, as Idoga's still down on the site. Squaznut goes for yet another peek and is able to find the kill again. 2 versus 3 now. Massive turnaround here for the Beast on their defense. Yertho is going to be able to combine with Kenjaz for 2 kills, so it's all on Benny with the Jaeger. What can they do? But 2 seconds to get the diffuser down. Will it go through? Yer is going to make it happen, and it's all on Yer. 1 versus 1. Can Benny do it with the slight HP advantage? We'll go for the pickup by the looks of things. That's huge for the MFAC Beast.
Yeah, Yer now will have double the trouble on his hands. We'll need to try to deal with the 2 operators rather than 1, and that is going to be quite an issue here. He'll be trying to go in for the swing, gets the swing on 1, nearly gets another one, but Benny just is able to overpower the opponent, and well, we'll be able to ultimately clutch out the round with just enough time to defuse.
Yeah, I like what they went for there, you know, sending the bandit in, who was very weak, obviously, had just been picked up, use them as bait. That's Idoga, and that just confuses Yer's aim, doesn't know exactly where to shoot at, goes for the player who's closest, which is, yeah, logically what you're going to do, but because it distracts his aim for just enough time, Benny's able to come around and clean up the kill and then get the diffuse down, or get the diffuse disabled. So there we go, 4-3, a solid first defensive round from the Beast, but a little bit shaky towards the middle of that round for sure.
Oh yeah, most definitely. It has been a bit of a shaky showcase, a bit of a shaky performance on the attack for Marsden, but they still have a couple more rounds. They still have the point advantage as well, only a single round that is until the draw, and yeah, a few plays can be performed here, and a few ideas could be pitched here, I suppose, before we make any changes, any advancements. For now, we are going to be going into the penthouse and theater. No Miro once again, but I definitely still a different lineup of the operators. We get a Mute, we get a Maestro for this side, still have a Doc, still have a Legion and a Vigil, so overall a fairly roaming-based kind of lineup, but at the same time, a fair bit of utility to also enable some anchor plays as well.
Yeah, well, I think Beast definitely must have learnt something from the gentleman last week in terms of the roam game, because in that last round we saw some pretty effective roaming coming from Adoga and Benny. So whether it's going to still continue to be effective into this round, we'll have to wait and see. And of course, Legion with the not so recent updates of only being able to see the Legion mine within a certain radius does obviously slow down the ability to use Legion as a bit of a secondary roamer, so that could definitely come into effect. But you never know what Axel Bolt is planning here, and again, being a sub, we don't really know what to expect in general from him as a player. So here we go, the opening potential peaks and pre-fires coming through from the Mute of Squaznut, but no damage to speak of early on in the round.
I'm curious how will the Finka and the Blitz combo will be utilized, because that is a scary one to think of. If you can get a really nice swing there, they are fully aware that there will be a crossfire set up, so dropping down into the bathroom is not going to be the ideal case here. So maybe an attempt through the DJ balcony could be another valid one, but for now it's just they're just trying to find the pressure point in MFAC's Beast's defense.
Yeah, I think they're just sort of slowly trying to figure out where the best angle of attack is. Vigil has been spotted out, Benny, but doesn't look like they're going to drone him out here, so maybe a bit of a waste of his ability in that scenario. But the peak is going to come on through. Oh, wow. Zarix, you need to stand up. You need to spot that one out there. But Vigil gets caught up on the stairs. Does manage to drop down with minimal HP left. Gets flashed actually, I believe, by Mr. Ilox.
Yeah. Same actually goes for Ilox as well. He took quite a fair bit of punishment. So any kind of further gunfights are definitely, they could be quite fatal here. Maybe Benny could remedy that with a flank, as maybe Yer won't be expecting him, but it seems from the general gun positioning, no, not a single clue actually.
Well, at least Benny's been smart enough to relocate and is going to get rewarded for his presence there as he opens things up. But that gets traded out by Zarix not too far from now. There we go. The Finka boost does come on through. Oh, just getting surrounded on the side there. Kasuke is going to follow up on Adoga, but Benny's still alive, still so low HP. Has found that diffuser as well. That's such a massive kill to find at this point in the round. Miss Arlox, as you said earlier, has taken a lot of damage from that earlier interaction with Benny. So this 3 versus 2 is looking really good for the MFAC Beast. 1 versus 2 now. And there we go. Time runs out. And MFAC Beast, they're going to be able to level the playing field now. Playing a very solid defensive game. And I guess it's fair to say this is why it was their map pick.
Yeah, solid idea so far of how to defend, how to play rotations there for themselves. And after what seemed to be a very one-sided first half, it seems that a bit of a comeback is being mounted here by Beasts, and certainly looks like this could be the round where they could take the map as well. This is the final round, I believe, so Kitchen and Service Entrance is going to be the final kind of place of the fight.
Okay, some interesting choices coming in from the 6th pick. It's yet to be confirmed here for Zarix, but there we go. Ying's going to come on through instead of the Sledge. No, I guess, traditional soft breacher to speak of that will be able to take advantage of the verticality of this specific set of bomb sites. So an interesting set of an interesting lineup here from Arthur. I'm not sure that I really agree with a lot of it here.
I mean, Mazden is more so, well, with the choice of Blackbeard, it's more so just the decision of kind of up there firepower ability rather than their utility. Ying has not so far really paid off that well, and so is the Blitz choice. If you want to get a shield operator at this point, well, Monty would have been the better choice, but both him and Clash have been banned out. So, kind of trying to go for an alternative, I suppose, here, but Blitz is unfortunately, he boasts a completely different playstyle comparative to his French counterpart.
Definitely, and I think there's a potential for it to work out. Maybe if they just decide to go for some kind of bum rush through the kitchen door, but I doubt that's really their plan of attack. That wouldn't be the most intelligent choice, I'd say. But you never know what they're thinking, and maybe it might just catch out the beasts by surprise. So you're just gonna have to wait and see. But a slow start to this one, I can imagine, is they're really going to have to take their time to assess every attacking option.
Yeah. For now, it seems like a very nice entry through the Sunrise will be the initial idea. Kenjaz could potentially get an engagement with the Legion of Squaznard, but I don't think either one of the players are very much aware about their whereabouts. And for the time being, it's just going to be a very kind of long-range engagement between the BB and the defense.
Yeah, just taking it one corner at a time, using the drones pretty well here, I'd have to say, from Marsden. And it looks like they're just going to try and take control of everywhere downstairs except for the bomb sites. First.
Yeah, already the controls are going in.
Yeah.
And we're going for a fair few flashes as well, but it seems that it doesn't really phase them as much. There's already full execute the fire arrows as well. It's only Chiz that is actually trying to deny any push. A C4 to come flying through, and only Evil can be connecting on his own dead body. There's a death as well for Benny, and this is all just went completely down south here.
It's all fallen apart in the last round. Squaznut 1 versus 4 finds the first kill, but this is going to be nigh on impossible to come back from this one. Diffuser already down to just 25 seconds, and this setup, the post-plant setup for Marsden, is quite good. That push just worked absolute treat. Initially didn't seem to make much of an impact, but Marsden Makos are going to be able to take down the first map, take down the base on their map pick, and go into Cafe with a very strong advantage here. 5-4 is going to be a final scoreline. Does go down to the final round of proceedings, but there we go. Cthulhu, this is looking really good for Marsden going into map 2.
Sure is, yeah. Marsden once again, yeah, going into their map pick, and one of their rather more preferred, I would imagine, maps is a solid beginning, especially with their potential chance of granting themselves those extra 3 points to overtake Beasts and claim their 4th place. But yeah, it's certainly shaping up quite well for them.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I have to give props to Kasuke, because after a very slow start, was able to actually be equal top fragger in his squad. And I think that's one of the things that looking at that scoreline or the scoreboard shows is that everyone really played their part on the Marsden squad in that one. Everyone getting about 6 to 8 kills, that sort of range. Whereas on the other side of things, you had Benny with 12, and everyone else was around like the 3-4 range, even less for one of the players I think had 2 kills. So just really relying on one player like that is never going to be the best strategy, and it really proved it today.
Yeah. Well, we are going to be going on a short little break as we are setting up map number 2, but we will be seeing a continuation of Beast versus Makos in just a short few moments. Don't go too far away. We'll see you in a little bit.
We want to see your hands Mushy mush.
5 seconds remaining. Ball on the blue side. It's not gonna happen. STMC Gold take the grand final.
Because with live sport cancelled and footy fields deserted, there's never been a better time to be a gamer.
Second attempt, but no boost to fall through. He's trying desperately to get another touch, but he just cannot get there. And with 5 seconds remaining, that could have been the last attempt. Colt's going to get one more goal in. And STMC Gold take game number 1 with that goal right there. Granted, we still...
Playing online games in a school uniform is now the next big thing.
Connie is now in a position. The C4 comes out, melts out lightning. Can't get the follow-up frag.
This is the world of esports, aka sporting comps played via online games.
It's just like any other sport.
Well, I think it was fair to say Cthulhu first map was a much closer affair than we had anticipated, and of course it is Marsden coming away with it as we head into their map pick number 2. It is going to be Cafe. What do you sort of make of where we're headed here? Because I feel like, from my perspective, I'm looking at a team that's going to be feeling pretty good and have quite a lot of momentum.
Yeah, honestly, Marsden is surely going to be feeling much better after winning the map number 1. And Cafe is one of those maps that they were able to run away from ICB One Nation as well really, really quickly. I mean, a 5-3 scoreline is certainly a really good showcase of that.
Yeah, the 5-3 was something that was a little bit unexpected in that series after we saw the first map, which went the other way 5-3. So for them to be able to beat a team like ICB, which currently are top of the or second in the leaderboard, it definitely fills me with a bit of confidence that going into this version of Cafe up against the B squad, who have underperformed, I think it's fair to say, they look pretty good, and this could be a little bit more one-sided than we expected. Or maybe we just don't know what the hell beasts are capable on Cafe, and they might be able to take Marsden's map pick like we saw Marsden just do to theirs. So it really still is up in the air, but I'm quietly confident my money would have to be on Marsden.
Yeah, well, Cafe Dostoevsky is definitely going to be a much more interesting and a slightly different playstyle as well, given that Coastline was a bit more linear, maybe a little bit more frag heavy. Here on Cafe, they will need a little bit more of the coordination here for themselves, as we are just about to transition straight into Cafe. And it will be Marsden that will be actually starting the attack for themselves.
Yeah, so decent strategies, but Beast, I think, adapted very well. So, you know, even though they weren't able to take out the victory, they did a couple of things here and there which put Makos on the back foot, and they weren't really able to take complete control of that map. But nevertheless, it's really going to come down to, I think, this first half, how well Beasts are able to do on the defense, and if they're able to shut the Makos down as well as Makos were able to do on their defense. So let's see how we go. But bans coming on through. Beasts, they're going to ban out the smoke by the looks of things, so that's not a bad start. Or Thatcher, rather.
Thatcher, rather, yeah. Yeah, Thatcher being banned out here on Cafe is certainly going to make things a whole lot harder for the attack to really push through. And Monty ban as well from Marsden, they don't want to deal with that in any shape or form. Yeah, Thatcher will be just essentially just forcing Kawi to be really picked in if they want to have a similar kind of utility.
Yeah, well, I'll be interested to see if we get a mirror ban out here, because we didn't see that come through last time and both teams took advantage of mirror. But it looks like the Clash is going to be their second ban once again. Makos just do not want to deal with any shield operators if they don't have to. And they're going to do their best to get rid of the biggest problem makers, I think, on the board right now. I'd have to say that, you know, at the meta the way that it is currently, Monty and Clash are definitely the best two shield operators, and then you've probably got Blitz in a close third. But here we go. No operator ban for MFAC. Is that
interesting?
Is that a thing? That's a thing. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can go for just a no operator ban, but let's just say I'm surprised by that, and that is even, and that is actually going to be probably an understatement as well for myself, that I'm surprised about that.
Yeah, not something that you see every day, that's for sure. So an interesting development, I guess, in the matchup between these two squads. Now, how does that affect things is going to be the biggest question I have. And, you know, I don't know if Makos were thinking, okay, or rather whether the Beasts were thinking, okay, we want to use every single other operator at some point, or if they just thought, screw it, we'll give them some kind of advantage in this one. But I don't know why you'd want to do that, as this is Marston's map pick. So very tricky and interesting decision. Yeah, I'm just not quite sure. I'm just not sure about it.
Yeah, me neither, honestly, here. But maybe there is a grand plan to maybe bait in Marsden to be a little bit more cocky about some of their pushes. Looking at overall kind of setup of the reinforcements, this is looking fairly stock standard, minus the fact that this wall is fully reinforced, which is usually used for the rotations for the defenders, as well as these two walls in the cocktail lounge are not reinforced, so they will be easily, well, the offense will be able to easily shoot through it, which, yeah, I'm not particularly sold yet on that idea, or that strat rather.
No, well, I guess that was what we were really unsure about, was the, I guess, the way the Beast would play on this one, and if they had any sort of back pocket strat that they were going to pull out. But it just seems a little bit like inexperience, if you're asking me. I think the one thing that I'm surprised at, you know, obviously they haven't decided to ban a defender this time around, and if anything, I feel like Echo's probably one of the more cliche bans to go with on Cafe, and maybe just because they want to use it, they thought, well, why bother ban anyone? But it's still very baffling to me, and I think I'm probably going to mention it a couple of times, so bear with me, chat.
Yeah, we'll have to see how things will go further down the line. Although already first frag onto Chiz, who was attempting to go for a bit of a peek out from the window, got straight away punished by Yer, who has been running that kind of the Fragmite setup, the Holo 556 XI. And that gun, usually we see people use it with an ACOG, but occasionally some players decide to jam it into overdrive and just go with a holo or any kind of one-time scope and go with the frags. But not a bad idea, but 1v5 already with a minute gone. Things might be looking quite interesting given that Ilox is still sticking to that blitz.
Yeah, definitely could still work out. The upside down breach is going to come on through. And they're going to try slowly make their way towards White Stairs. I guess the only positive about these two walls being reinforced is that anyone sort of chilling behind them should feel a little bit safer. But that being said, the breach is just going to come through uncontested completely. Kasuke already dropped down and is going to be out of this one. Kenjaz down to just half HP as well. But that being said, Chiz and the Doga out of action gives the man advantage here to Marsden just slightly. As now it's going to be all on the one remaining Benny. This is a very confusing round, how it's gone down the way it has, but nevertheless, it looks like their slight deficiencies in terms of the defensive setup have really paid dividends here for Marsden. Somehow Benny stays alive against the blitz of Mr. Ilox, but Zarix should be able to find this last kill as the player goes in for the cleanup. No! Kasuke is going to go down. Benny gets away with their life. 1 versus 1, but Marsden is going to be able to clean it up in the end. Zarix, a very confusing one-on-one in the end there, but makes it work.
Yeah, confusing is probably even going to be an understatement here, Milboss, given that it was definitely quite a almost a game of maybe a lottery or a lotto rather, to see whether it was who was rather the victor in that gunfight. But alas, well, it's kitchen service and cooking will be now attempted by the defense, as that got probably a little bit too close for Marsden's comfort zone there.
Yeah, it started off as a very solid sort of offense and then just got very hairy towards the end, so somehow clinging on to the round, and they take the first one out in a very awkward 1 versus 1 at the end, but hopefully that's not the best that they have to offer here, Marsden. We've seen some decent stuff with them against ICB in the first week, so hopefully they're able to switch things up a little bit. Now, let's see if Beast struggled to defend down here in the kitchen as well. I mean, they could have stayed upstairs if they wanted to. They weren't able to win that first defensive round, but nevertheless, they've decided to go downstairs to kitchen. What do you make of this setup initially?
So far, I mean, this is looking fairly stable once again. They have all of their avenues kind of reinforced. They are going for a bit more of a kind of turtle setup almost, where they will pretty much force the attack to either try to go in for the breaches and then kind of push it onto the side, or rather go in through all of the choke points that are prepped already by the map itself here.
Yeah, that seems to be more or less the plan of attack. Or defense rather, but let's open things up. Attacking phase or action phase underway, and so far we're seeing 3 players coming in from that west end side. Make that 4, make that all 5 actually on the attacking side. Are going to be focusing their attention straight into the bakery, and that might put Adoga in a very awkward position here. Needs to find 1 or 2 quick kills, turns away at the last second when the blitz peeks on through, but I think the first line of defense is going to be Mr. Ilot. Oh, rather, it's going to be Adoga here.
Adoga here will be trying to get some openings and will be actually granted pretty quickly by Zarek, onto Zarix, as he was trying to utilize the blitz shield in a fairly good way, but well, the idea was good, but the execution was not particularly pitch perfect there. The breach will be pretty much uncontested in any shape or form, but will be contested is Kesuke's life and will be completely outed. Once again, Adoga on that double kill already.
Yeah, well, Adoga will want to improve on their performance from the last map where we saw, you know, that ace in the first round, but then sort of fell off towards the rest of the map, so they'll want a little bit more consistency going into this one. I think they finish off with maybe 6 or 7 kills. Right now, Adoga, though, really starting to shred holes in this defense of Marsden, or in the offense, sorry, of Marsden, as it's only 2 players left for the attackers, and one of them is a blitz, so really going to rely here on Yer to find the kills.
Yeah, Yer will definitely need to step up here, especially now that Skosnot has disconnected as well. This does put us into a 2v3 situation, which could be very much workable. Does find a fantastic shot onto Chiz. Needs to get rid of Axel and Benny, as both of them will be trying to push the same kind of doorway. So the lineup is there. Oh no, it's a team kill as well. 1v1 situation now. Benny once again will have to contest against the Blitz. He does not see the Blitz. What is happening? How is the Blitz not being seen? And well, that's just a complete shutdown. Marsden, by a miracle, able to win out this round as well.
Oh my god. How has that happened? How have they got away with that round? That should have been everything to the Beast, but it just falls apart at the last second. Blitz somehow survives, and Marsden go 2-0 up. This is a very interesting development. Both rounds have been kind of, I guess, confusing, and going down to the very last second, going down to the wire. And Marsden are just managing to scrape ahead. But of course, that's what you want to do on the offensive side of things. You want to make sure you get a couple of rounds before we switch sides and go into the stronger defensive side of things. So, yeah, a bit confusing in all sentiments. But Marsden looking pretty good. Maybe just slightly above par in terms of the slaying side of things, the fragging side of things. But the Beasts... They need to make a change somewhere. I just don't know how to pinpoint exactly what that place is.
Yeah. We're just double checking if there will be a rehost. It appears that no. Chiz will
rejoin.
Yeah, we still gonna. Yeah, if we find it, we find. Yeah. Well. It seems that we are going to be continuing. It is going to be, from the get-go, a 4v5. And, oh yeah, for Beast, this is not the most ideal situation, but I guess, well, they don't really want the rehost. Well, that's up to them, so... For the time being, it's Chiz trying to find some openings early into the round, but he did get punished in the first round to that very same window where he's residing right now, and this could mean his demise is coming very close.
Definitely could be. So doesn't want to stick around for too long. What I like from Beast here is they've decided to not take any risks into this 4 versus 5 round. They've pulled out 2 solid anchor players out of Axel Bolt and Adoga, sitting on the Rook and Doc respectively. So they don't want to take too many risks and make this any harder than it has to be. As long as Chiz is able to stay alive and at least find a kill for their troubles. But gets taken down so low early on here. Marsden making great headway into the side here. Adoga will find the first kill but gets traded out straight away from Kenjaz. Some shots going down from top skylight. Isn't going to make much go down here, and Benny cleaning up a kill after the trade out means that we do have a 3 versus 2, so man advantage still in favor of Marsden. Make that 3 versus 1, and it looks like Benny is going to have to perform an absolute miracle. Tarek, again with these warbangs, what are you doing, son?
Man is just fully, he's ready, he's all warmed up, he's now ready to click heads. That is one of the more nuttier picks, and already Marsden on a 3-point lead here, which is already quite nuts.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's unfair that these rounds don't really tell the full story, as all of them have come down to the wire except for that last one being a little bit more one-sided, but still, this is a way to establish dominance in a map, is if you can, it is their map pick, and if they're able to get 3-4 rounds on this first half, they go into the second half very, very comfortable on the defensive side of things. So even if we see the next couple of rounds, the next 3 rounds go in favor of the defense of the MFAC base, I still have to give it to Marsden here. They're looking very good.
Need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
Yeah, they seeming to be just on a whole new level here. Beasts, they are making a few attempts. They are trying their best to really make things work, but it just can't seem to be really working out in any shape or form for themselves. For each and every frag that they acquire for themselves, it's 2 or more that is being dished out by Marsden. So almost feels like just a bit of a one-sided battle here for themselves.
Yeah, almost. They've decided to switch things up once again.
5 seconds left.
Change locations. And we'll see if this helps them at all. Going for something a little bit left of field. Something that we don't see every day, and definitely not one of the preferred bomb sites, I'd say, on this map.
Yeah, this is probably one of the least picked sites, especially with the current meta. we barely see it really come around. Namely, once again, similar to how it is on Coastline, the floor is very much destructible. You can pretty much get rid of both of those two mirror windows from up above. So it's definitely a little bit questionable. Another interesting thing is that the call is coming through whilst pretty much the whole team, apart from Xerix, just only now making the entrance. So Keske's call is definitely going to be drained for quite nothing. There is already the opening of one of the mirror windows, so at the very least there's that. And Chiz will try to get a C4 kill there through the breach.
Well, they've been able to shoot out, or it has been shot out by one of the players on the defense. Both of those windows. So you pick up there. There's definitely a chance to find a kill onto Chiz early on here.
Well, it's a bit of a odd situation here, as the push is actually coming very, very quickly. There's already another breach to happen and be another angle to be found. Xerix, the man who was able to get himself quite a nasty highlight before, seeming to be a little bit struggling to find a frag here for himself.
Yeah, just trying to play around the map and try and sort of apply pressure at different points, but it doesn't necessarily help out the teammates. And Marsden have already found themselves down a player. They need to make this push work, and honestly, that's going to rely heavily on what Ilox is able to do as well. Last time they were sort of in this kind of a position, they decided to go for this front-on push. Ilox was so important, but Xerix has gone down in the background as well, so it's looking good for Marsden, but in fact, Base, they've been able to find a couple of kills back, so 2 versus 3 now. Or rather, Marsden's been able to find a couple of kills back, 2 versus 3, and the HP advantage massively in Beast's favor, but there's a potential here for Marsden to do something crazy. That being said, Year's going to go down, 2 HP left for Ilox, and that will be that. In fact, they're going to be able to finally find their first round here.
A first round and an ace again. It's for Idoga, who will be getting that big dub here for himself. Nicely done. As he once again, that's already his second ace throughout this whole matchup. One was on Coastline, one now being scored on Cafe, but a 3-1 scoreline is definitely a bit of a definitely a very tough scoreline to really come back into, especially right at the beginning of the map.
Yeah, no doubts about it. Well, let's see if now Beasts have been able to win a defensive round. They're going to go back up to Bar and Cocktail Lounge. Take 3. Third time's the charm, as they always say. So potentially feeling a little bit more confidence going into this one. Maybe they switch up the defense a little bit. They've decided to bring Mirror into this one as well. Benny going to be jumping onto the Vigil, see what they can do in terms of a roam potential, but not too much has changed on the Marsden side of things. They're still sort of sticking to their guns here.
Yeah, I mean, it worked for them for the most of it. Changing maybe a few things around here. I would probably love to see Ilox to switch off from Blitz to get to maybe a little bit more. If you want to be a support, maybe try to bring in something like a Kali or something like that, because definitely the Blitz is not really working out. There's no ability for precise long-range engagements. The moment you kind of go for an ADS, you expose your head, which it looks like a huge just melon that is just asking to be headshotted. So, a few still questionable picks here for Marsden, but I mean, for the time being, it has been working out. I mean, that Blitz was able to clutch out round number 2 in Kitchen, so I guess I shouldn't be really talking smack about that choice just yet.
Yeah, we can't really shut it down too early on. But, you know, I'd have to agree, just from a pure fragging potential, Ilox was definitely one of the players that we saw perform quite well in the last map, so you would want them to potentially pick up something a little bit more aggressive that has the potential to get kills. Maybe not, a super hyper-aggressive character like an Ashe or anything, but yeah, just something that is supportive, but still you can find some decent kills with, whereas Blitz just isn't really that character. And yes, they've found 3 rounds. MFAC Beast has been able to shut him down to just the 1 kill, and that came from that round on Kitchen. So, yeah, it's an interesting choice to still be on it, but nevertheless, they are 3-1 up, so I can't really say that it's not working out definitively.
Yeah, we'll have to see how things will really work out further down the line, because so far, Mazda are certainly looking at maybe getting themselves that 4th round to get some advantage before the side swap here, as you are going to be seeing an attempt to go for the push onto the red stairs. Xerix, once again, will be going in for the swing onto the new hatch balcony and trying to maybe get a few openings. There is already a Vigil trying to contest a few angles, but neither one of the contestants will be exchanging any damage, at least just yet. But Kenjaz will be very promptly shut down by his own teammate, Keske. Once again, the man is thirsty for blood, whether it's his teammates or foes. So, at the very least, Xerix was able to equalize the man count just a little bit for just about a half second before there was a frag onto Keske as well found.
Yeah, so again, Kenjaz really struggling in this one. Doga's found it's just another kill. Yur's going to be able to get the trade there, but Xerix has gone down. Has been dropped. Yur needs to be able to protect and potentially pick up to make this one doable. 2 versus 3. And IQ and Thermite. This is going to have to be some kind of a miracle to find a couple of quick kills. 13 seconds. Xerix is going to find the first one. Tries to make the second one happen. They need to push on to this bomb site sooner rather than later. 7 seconds, 6 seconds, 5 seconds. The time management just not there here. The final push comes on through. Yur's going to be able to find one. Does get dropped, but Chiz will follow up with the kill and end up winning the round here for the MFAC Beasts.
Yeah, being able to drain out the time just by a slither of a chance will be able to grant MFAC the 2nd point for themselves. They still have 1 more round to play off before the side switch, so still another opportunity for Mazda to grant themselves the 4th point, or maybe we are just going to be seeing a draw at the end of the side, the offensive side of the of Mazda, and that could also allow potentially a comeback attempt for MFAC Beast as well.
Yeah, there's always that potential, and it is getting a little bit closer than I thought we would see it go, especially after those first 3 rounds. It was looking very, very good for Marsden, but something has just switched in the heads of MFAC Beast, and they're starting to get it a little bit better. So now we go back down to the kitchen. Can they defend this one properly this time? You know, 3rd time's the charm. It worked out upstairs in the bar. Now can they replicate that down in kitchen? Where, you know, that was where we saw the Blitz get away with murder, it seemed like. So will it be a similar approach here from Marsden, or are they going to switch it up a little bit themselves?
10 seconds left.
Yeah, with Marsden, well, at least roster-wise, it doesn't look like they're planning to really switch anything around. For Beasts, though, I'm liking their flexibility. I'm liking the fact that they're also bringing in the Castle, who can definitely drain that utility real nicely and just ensure that pretty much the moment the push by Marsden is going to be coming out, this is where they are going to be struggling also potentially.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that a couple of rounds ago. They used the Castle earlier in the train museum, so will it have a similar effect this time? Will it be, you know, a key to victory for this round for the MFAC Beasts as they continue to apply the pressure to Marsden and fight for that draw in terms of map count by the end of this one? So far, the droning hasn't really discovered much, but it might do just for a second there. I thought Benny would have been spotted out, but no. The barricade goes down, and Beast, they're really just holding down this bomb site. They're not really pushing out too much, not getting too hyper-aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, apart from Chiz, the rest of them are sitting very tightly on site and with no general contention of bakery entrance. None of that. They just essentially waiting for the breach to happen and use that as the choke point that they could further on funnel Mazden in through. Yer will gladly get that opening done and dusted. So at the very least, there's that. Ilox despises the fact that the Capcan traps were droned out. Unfortunately, ended up running into one of them, which will be putting him at a further disadvantage further down the line into the round. Curious, what is Chiz up to? Chiz is just playing his own game, really, and we'll be just waiting for the right moment to go in for the swing from up above.
Ilox is just going to want to be careful about their positioning, make sure they don't get flanked out here. Squaznut staying alive and destroying one of the drones. That's a good start here for Marsden. Kenjaz is going to be able to find their second kill. This time onto Benny, and that's a really important kill to find. Oh, Zarix is going to get a kill with a grenade as well. This is looking perfect for Marsden. They're going to start their entry in, but here comes Chiz and Axel Bolt. Chiz finds the first. Axel Bolt will get dropped, though. Chiz is going to have to do it all. Zarix will finish off the kill. They know where Chiz is. Down to half HP. 1 versus 4. Not going to be easy, but finds the first onto Yer. 2 more to come through. And that Blitz is just going to do what they did last time around. But this time, Chiz is well aware of where they are. And there's a lot of angles to toy with because of the entries that the attackers made. Chiz is starting to pop things up. Oh, that could be perfect. No, it doesn't work out. It will drop the player. 1 versus 1, Chiz. What are you doing? It's been a quad kill. Can they make the ace? No, Marsden is going to finally come and clean it up. Kenjan is going to find the kill. And somehow, beyond a shadow of a doubt, Chiz almost makes this a 1 versus 5 ace clutch.
That could have been a huge one as well for Beast as well, just to get their hopes, get their spirits back up and running. It's just absolutely nuts here between the two teams. We're seeing already 2 aces from Edoga, and this one to kind of run in by Chiz. That would have been a huge one, where at this point I would imagine that Beast would lock in themselves at the very least a record for just the sheer amount of aces that they could pull off in a single matchup.
Yeah, definitely. That'd have to be a record for sure. But now we go into the second half here. It's going to be Marsden on defense, 4-2 scoreline, and they are on match point, of course, and series point. They win this. They win both maps in the series, and this would be very good for their standings on the leaderboard. Of course, they're currently 1 draw, 1 loss. They go win 1 draw, 1 loss. That's going to put them up at this point in time right up there into 3rd place, I believe, depending on the round count difference of One Nation, who I believe have done pretty well. And of course, depending on the results of their series up against Lenvius, this could be a 3rd place for Marsden Makos.
Yeah, we'll have to see how things will really work out here. They definitely looking at a very nice prize one way or another if they will end up winning this map right here. Because right now, a 2-point difference on a match point as well, meaning Beasts no longer allowed any more mistakes to be made, no more rounds to be lost, because this is where they need to pull up their serious pants, get the frags going, get the coordination running, and pretty much net themselves that dub, because otherwise it's their own demise that is awaiting for them.
Zarix is going to sneak downstairs. Oh, this could be huge. Zarix is going to find one. Can't find the second. Benny will trade out straight away, and that's a solid trade there from the MFAC Beast. That's exactly what you want to do there. You know, having that pal, having that buddy with you, the buddy system as we like to call it in esports, definitely allows for those trades and gets away with most of his health there, which is also an important factor to consider going into the rest of this round.
Yeah, that's a solid refrag there by Benny. A good positioning as well. Does show that he wasn't kind of overexposing himself to that angle, so he was able to get the upper hand onto Zarex's higher ground. But oh, right now, that could have been a deadly moment there for Benny, but thankfully he had the spidey sense there tingle, and so will be forced of that position and quickly reposition himself to try to apply pressure from just a different location.
Yeah, they're just trying to adapt here. The Beast, they really need to do something different on the attacking side to switch things up and make things difficult for Marsden. And ADS down.
ADSs and more of the electronic utility will be ridden here by Beasts trying to just allow themselves to push even further, to open up another avenue, as it seems that for now it's a very calm, very quiet game. But the moment the drop downs, the moment the push into the cigar shop and the site will start happening, this is where the main bloodbath will start ensuing. Yer is going to go onto a bit of a roam, maybe just get out from the side a little bit just to get himself into a bit more favorable position should the push happen. But it seems that it's Chiz that gets a much more comfortable pick, and that is the control of the lounge, now completely forfeited.
Yeah, some good map control here from the attacking side. Chiz, the almost hero from that last round, is going to get closed down by Ilox, who I like to see is back on the rook, back on that anchor position that they did so well in the first map on Coastline.
15 seconds.
The Kasuke traded out. Squaznut doing a decent amount of work. Benny's going to clean up yet another onto Ilox here. Almost gets traded out, but with 5 seconds remaining, that looks like it might be all she wrote. No, the diffuser goes down. So, yeah, 1 versus 3. Can they win this one here, or is it going to be Beast bringing us to a 4-3 scoreline?
Ooh. Well, just hold your breath on that one, because Yer right now has something to say about that. Finds a phenomenal shot there onto Squaznut. There's still Axel Bolt and Benny, still fairly healthy as well, and with the timer now starting to tick down, Yer needs to go in for that push. He needs to attempt to find those frags. There is a long-range angle set up by Axel Bolt and will be quite successful in granting Beasts another point, so they're not out of this just yet.
No, indeed, using the FAMASA's range to the best of its ability. So they stay alive for yet one more round. But it is forever Mako's match point. Will they stay upstairs in the bar? Doesn't look like it. Kitchen seems to be where we're headed this time around.
Yeah, Kitchen would be a interesting one to approach, because last time, yeah, obviously was a bit of a roller coaster as well. Nearly we saw an ace there from Chiz, but here they are the ones that will be attempting to now attack it rather than try to defend it throughout the most of their defensive side.
We'll have to wait and see what the defensive setup's going to look like. And, you know, Chiz might be able to use that to their advantage if he's prepared for these standard sort of defensive positions. You know, a lot of what Chiz was able to accomplish in that almost 1v5 ace was just being aware of the regular standard sort of positions for the post plant. So if he's aware of the standard defensive setups, that might actually play quite nicely into his hands. And of course, being that IQ, you know, it's not a player that you want to lose early on, but you'd rather lose an IQ than just say a Twitch or a Zafia.
That is true. That is true. Albeit IQ does occasionally bring in a little bit more kind of knowledge with the utility. But here's an interesting thing that even Idoga actually pointed out with the drone, that the hatch into the freezer has been opened up. So for Beasts, this will be pretty much just the sign that there will be a roam up above. So a top-down clear could very much be on the table here, and we could potentially see it happen.
Well, not just that, it was in fact Kenjaz, I believe, up there, and they shot out that drone, so they're going to be very, very aware of someone being upstairs. And they should be aware of exactly who it is. I think the drone was active right at the start of that round, so they might have spotted out Kenjaz before he was able to shut down the kill, but that's another drone going on in. Kenjaz ready for it, shuts it down, and Chiz is probably going to back out of this one, as now Kenjaz just holds on strong with the ACOG scope in hand. I wouldn't really recommend it, Chiz.
Yeah, Chiz was trying to bait out some sort of reaction from Kenjaz, trying to get him to swing, trying to get him the shot, but Is he actually gonna? No, he won't be trying to repel in. For a second, I thought that he was about to drop in through the window, but thankfully for him, he did pick the better decision to just repel up on the rooftop, go for a drop down from there, and then play a vertical game onto the Rook and potentially the Jaeger of Xerax, who just managed to rendezvous with his teammate.
Well, a very slow start to this one. I think both teams are a little bit cautious about the result of this round, maybe swinging the momentum in Beasts' favour if they're not able to find this round, and it goes to the final round of the map once again, as we saw that in the first map. Chiz, though, is going to find that opening kill onto Kenjaz that he was looking for, and is prepared for a second player. That's going to be the Jaeger there. Goes for some leg shots, can't finish off the kill, but Benny comes on through to trade that one out. Chiz does go down quite low, but it is going to be the two-man advantage here for the MFAC Beast on the attacking side. The momentum seems to have swung their way, and it's all going to be up to Kasuke. Yer and Ilox. Now just Yer and Ilox down in the basement, in the kitchens. This is not looking good here for Marsden.
Yeah, well, talking about not looking good as well, Beasts are starting to drop bodies there as well. It's a 3v2 now, much more clutchable here for Makos. They are going to be looking for more frags, missing out on that peak right now onto Benny. Benny is just the better gamer here, and now down to Yer, the man, the myth, the legend, who was able to find a greater variety of frags, is able to get some damage down the range as well. But right now, with the timer now about to start ticking against him, things are certainly not looking quite pretty, as Benny is about to shut down his flank as well.
Yeah, Benny looking for his flank here. Yeah, really unawares of what's going on, and it looks like it might be MFAC Beast pushing us to the last map of the series. If it does go that way, it's going to be really all momentum in their favor. There we have it. MFAC Beast have drawn this one out, had a very fantastic attacking side, and they now have the potential to steal Marsden's map back and really switch things up when it comes to the leaderboard, because not only, you know, if Marsden are able to take this out in the last round, yes, they will have that first win on the board. But the problem is going to be that round differential. As the first map went to the final round, this has now gone to the final round. And this might mean that even no matter what happens in the rest of their matches, they could be stuck in that fourth place and out of the top three.
Yeah, could very much be that shutdown. Bear in mind, yeah, the Makos do still need that 2-0 if they want to get themselves out of that 5th position, because right now, if Beasts are able to run away with that map, with their own map, with their opponent's rather map pick, that is going to be quite a devastating result for Makos, given that, well, they won't be advancing anywhere further, and the avenue that was available for them to take in the past few rounds will be completely vanished, and, well, with no potent results. So here, this is where they need to get muster all of their strength, all of their coordination, all of their aim muscles as well, just to make sure that they will win out this very round.
All comes down to this. They've brought the Echo back. Probably a smart decision. You know, on the other side of things, they're really going to be looking out for those roamers with the use of Jackal, who was of course banned in that first map, but has been able to have free roam here in map 2. So far, I have been very, very impressed with this attacking side from the base, I have to say. And, you know, we mentioned the potential for them to have something strange in their back pocket for Cafe. Maybe we had this one completely wrong, and it's actually the Beasts who feel that little bit more confident on Cafe. Who really knows? Didn't look that way to begin with, but things are really quite quickly starting to change.
Yeah, sure is. Right now, it's Xerax that will be the only person to try to defend the white stairs, where things might get escalated very quickly, as it's a duo of Adoga and Benny trying to go in for the push. There's already the swing. Xerax finds first. Can he find the second one? Goes in for the reload. Finds a second one as well. That is a great beginning here for Marsden. 5v3, but there's still plenty of ways to really bring this back. We saw multiple occasions where Beasts and Marsden were able to really go for a reverse sweep throughout the round. So here, Beasts could still maybe potentially clutch it back out.
Yeah, definitely a potential in this final round, and it's looking very solid for them. And there's still a chance here, you know. Cheers has been playing quite well. 7 kills to his name. Benny out of action. Top performer once again. Adoga, equally similar, very solid performance. Axel Bolt and Squaznut have had very poor games here, both with just 1 kill. Squaznut now out of action. This is looking like it just might happen for Marsden. 5 versus 2. I have to say, you know, I put my faith in them at the beginning of this map, and it looks like it might just pay off unless Chiz is able to borderline recreate some of the magic that almost got them the win in the last round of the first half. This one looks like it's going to be Marsden 2-0 in the series. 56 seconds remaining though, Cthulhu. Is there any one thing that you can think, okay, this is what Beast can do in this particular round to be able to get this one back for their squad?
Well, that would be very much dependent if they're able to find 1 or 2 frags from the skylight, but that doesn't look like the case. Marsden just holding a very passive angles, just draining out the time really. They don't need to push really anywhere, so they're just waiting for kind of a responsive kind of gameplay already. Echo managed to daze 1 player, gets the frag. Kenjaz, can he find the second one on IQ? Does manage to find it, and that's a shutdown with a flawless round. Magco's finesse onto Beast and claim that 2-0.
Yeah, there we go. A solid play out of the Echo in the last few dying moments of this series. And there we have it, 5-4. Once again, Marsden are going to be your victors here, 2-0. Not able to split the series that I think was kind of your prediction at the start of things, Cthulhu, but I'd have to give it up to Marsden for being able to not just keep their heads cool in this one as we saw that comeback begin to happen, but also being able to win on their opponent's map pick.
Yeah, the Marsden were just absolutely clinical on the rounds where they were able to completely shut it down to bring it all the way to Beast, but also big props to Beast as well for being able to push it into the full set of rounds, full 9 rounds for both of the maps, and were only that close to really granting themselves either a draw or maybe a 2-0 win.
Yeah, well, it really does change up the way that the leaderboard's going to look at the end of the night, but we'll have to wait for the other games to be confirmed and finished up to really know how things are going to be standing. But I think it's fair to say at this point, you know, based on the performances we've seen from the gentlemen in the past, they're likely to win their series over the bottom of the leaderboard right now. So they're probably going to stay in that 3rd position, but this obviously is going to mean that Beast, they're going to go down a spot, and Marsden are going to make their way into 4th place, definitely. But, you know, you never know what the other scorelines are going to be, so we're going to have to keep our eyes on them, Cthulhu. But apart from that, any final thoughts as we end week 3 here?
Yeah, look, so far, all of the matchups that we did get to see were absolute bangers. If this matchup doesn't put that statement here, that it is going to be a very exciting season, and potentially the end of it as well is going to be an even bigger barn burner, I don't know what else will.
Yeah, well, we're past the halfway point now. Only 2 more weeks of the regular season play to go before we start thinking about finals. So not too much time left. Now, in terms of Siege, if you love your Siege, then stick around, because at 7 o'clock, we're going to see Cthulhu back on the mic as we head over to the Women's League. Make sure to return at 7 p.m. for that. But apart from that, on behalf of ZQ Racing, Ubisoft, and Computer Alliance, Cthulhu and myself and the production team back with XP Esports, we thank you so much for tuning in to week 3 of the High School League, and we will see you again next week.
5 seconds remaining, ball on the blue side. It's not gonna happen. STMC Gold take the grand final.
Because with live sport cancelled and footy fields deserted, there's never been a better time to be a gamer.
Second attempt, but no boost to fall through. He's trying desperately to get another touch, but he just cannot get there. And with 5 seconds remaining, that could have been the last attempt. Colt's gonna get 1 more goal in. And STMC Gold take game number 1 with that goal right there. Granted,
Playing online games in a school uniform is now the next big thing.
Bonnie is now in a position. The C4 comes out, melts out Lightning. Can't get the follow-up frag.
This is the world of esports, aka sporting comps played via online games.